I would like to begin by declaring that we are all friends of the Union. We all believe that our lives, our liberties, and our hopes depend upon the states remaining together as one country. However, my ideas about how to keep the states united are very different from Mr. Lincoln's ideas. I believe that the Union must be preserved by strictly following the Constitution given to us by our wise founding fathers. The Constitution gives states the choice to have slavery or to not have it. You cannot force a free state upon an unwilling people. You cannot force a slave state upon an unwilling people. It is our highest privilege as Americans to decide for ourselves what is good and what is bad and then vote. As the Western territories become states, the citizens of each territory should be able to vote on whether they wish to allow slavery or not. It is their freedom to do so. This freedom is what our Revolutionary Fathers died for. As the Southern states wish to have slavery, they should be allowed to do so. This right is protected in the Constitution. On the other hand, Mr. Lincoln wants to preserve the Union by taking away the power of each state. How can you strengthen something by weakening each of its parts? He wants to have a strong federal government. I disagree with this plan. The Constitution gave each state the power to govern itself. I am for states' rights and the voice of the people. I will repeat, I am a friend of the Union. The states must feel more connected. We can connect with each state by building a transcontinental railroad. This railroad would connect the Atlantic states to the Pacific states. A railroad would allow citizens to trade and travel. Perhaps a railroad could even reduce disagreements and tensions as citizens get to know each other better. I also support free homesteads. I believe that if a territory decides if it wants a homestead, that it has every right to have them. I am a Democratic man through and through. I dearly esteem the right to vote and the voice of the people. These are gifts given to us by the Founding Fathers through the Constitution. It is now time for you to exercise your gift to vote. I ask you to carefully consider this question. What kind of man do you want leading the Union? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we meet today to discuss many important issues. The first is an old and familiar question. Should the federal government be allowed to control the spread of slavery in our Western territories? In response, Senator Douglas says no, as he said in a recent speech. Our fathers, when they framed the government under which we live, understood this question just as well and even better than we do now. I agree with Senator Douglas that our founding fathers, the 39 signers of the Constitution, did understand the powers of the federal government. I have studied the actions and writings of each founder, and 21 of them, including George Washington, believed that the federal government does indeed have the right to prohibit slavery in the Western territories. These 21 men, a clear majority of the founding fathers, voted on bills to limit slavery in the territories and thus made their feelings clear. I will allow the lead of these wise founding fathers who understood better than we. Slavery is not for the Western territories. I now wish to speak to the Southerners in the audience. You boldly declare that the Republicans stir up rebellions among your slaves. You point to John Brown, an abolitionist who used violence at Harper's Ferry in an attempt to liberate slaves. I declare that John Brown was not a Republican. Not one man involved in that rebellion was a Republican. True, we believe, like our founding fathers did, that slavery is wrong, but we do not aim to end slavery in the South. Instead, we must focus on unifying as a nation. A house divided against itself cannot stand, ladies and gentlemen. We must come together. This nation must be tied together with Transcontinental Railroad. This will connect communities from California to New York. This would also help honest farmers move west in search of a better life. The government should give homesteads or free land to these men. I believe in homesteads because I believe in opportunity. After all, opportunity is what makes this country great. Opportunity is what makes this country a place where a poor farm boy like me can grow up to become a presidential candidate. To the Northerners, I say, we must not be frightened by false accusations against us. Let us have faith that right makes right. And in that faith, let us, to the end, dare to do our duty as we understand it. Thank you.
Neighbors and friends, I feel grateful to stand before you today. The circumstances by which I stand here are unusual. I did not submit my name as a presidential candidate. My name, however, was presented, and I felt I could not refuse to accept the nomination without abandoning my principles and betraying my friends. So here I stand. Some Northerners and some Southerners have accused me of trying to break up the Union. Nothing could be further from the truth. All I seek is to follow the Constitution and the rulings of the Supreme Court. It's interesting how those who disagree with my ideas are the first ones to accuse me of driving a rift in the Union. As I explained my arguments, I hope that all those in the audience will remain open-minded. As you know, the Supreme Court has ruled that men may take their slaves, their property, with them when they travel to the territories. Despite the Supreme Court decision, Mr. Douglas declares that territories still have the right to ban slavery. How can he say that the voice of the people is more important than our Constitution? What can be higher than the highest law of the land? We should be able to take our slaves to any territory. In fact, there should be codes and laws protecting our rights as property owners. Others have accused me of sympathizing with abolitionists. I challenge anyone in the audience to name a time when I have sympathized with the freeing of the slaves. You cannot do it. I believe in preserving slavery in the South and expanding our rights as slaveholders elsewhere. Our Southern rights, beliefs, and even our way of life is being attacked. We must look at the Constitution to protect us. My friends, we must be wary of those supporting a Homestead Act. This act would fill the West with non-slave holding Northerners. It is better that the West not be settled at all. It would upset the balance if there were more free states than slave states. In addition, some have called for a transcontinental railroad. I would support a railroad connecting a southern city to the West. I do not support a railroad that bypasses the South and does not benefit us at all. I think I have piled up a pyramid of fact and argument which I ask every intelligent man to consider. If you vote for me, I will use the Constitution as my guide to protect our way of life. Thank you. It is an honor to speak here today. Today I will not discuss heated and controversial issues. I will not argue for or against slavery, homesteads, or railroad. Instead, I would like to describe my political party. I do not run as a Democrat, nor do I run as a Republican. I run under the party that I believe to be the body of the country, the Constitutional Union Party. This party holds three simple truths. First, we recognize no political principle other than the Constitution of the United States. Second, we are dedicated to preserving the Union. Third, we believe in enforcing the laws of the land. We believe that it is pointless to discuss issues like slavery or homesteads. These are heated issues that drive people apart. Nothing but contention and anger will come of discussing these things. We must remember that our ultimate goal is to keep the states together in the Union. I truly believe that most people in the North and South love the Union as I do. However, both Democrats and Republicans use fighting words which tear the country apart. It is my hope that this party can usher in a new era of politics, an era where all parties follow the Constitution, enforce laws, and preserve the Union. Thank you for this opportunity to speak today.